So, what's the next movie?
The Good Dinosaur.
No.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Dimlits.
We're lit and dim.
Where we are not the brightest bulbs in the box. This is a podcast where we talk about Pixar movies because why not?
Yeah.
Today, we get to cover the other 2015 Pixar movie for our 16th episode, properly titled, as if you on YouTube heard already, The Good, quote-unquote, Dinosaur.
The passable dinosaur.
How to say this appropriately for Pixar, the bastard child of Pixar's catalog. Because most will point to Cars 2 as the worst. Cars 2 is much worse than this.
Yeah.
But it's part of a franchise that people like.
It's notable.
Yeah. This has kind of been the outlier for a lot of people because I out of all the people that I've ever talked Pixar about, there's only one person in the entire world that I know is a fan.
And lucky for us, he's on this
right
podcast.
This is thrown out a lot, and it's like, when you watch it, you go, it's not that bad. Why do people hate this?
Yet you called it that bad in your review.
No, that was a typo.
You still put it out there on the internet,
I know.
buddy.
It took me all day to fix it. Yeah. The whole point being, the animosity toward this movie, it comes out of nowhere. And we'll talk, because I think Jake will talk. Jake brought up stuff about, like, it came after Inside Out, so people are like, what is this? It's like, people freak out about this movie. It's like,
It's just...
I would watch this over Cars 2.
Oh, yeah.
I would watch this over several.
I'd watch this over Brave, too. Like,
I'd watch this over Coco.
Ooh, that's maybe a little far. I would disagree with that.
It's just... Why is this? Go after Cars 2, please.
Or Cars 3, or Coco, or...
Well, I know we've had this conversation before where, like, it's more notable when things are just bad. This is just mediocre. I think maybe that's why it just flies under everyone's radar. There's nothing really...
Oh, come on. It's got Donnie from the Wild Thornberries.
It's Diet Donnie.
Diet Donnie?
Diet Donnie, yeah! It looks like him, but he's very much more contained.
I don't know. When we see the other humans...
I don't know.
Weird.
He bites that thing's head off.
Oh, that's fair. No, that's true.
And he rips part of the Steve Zahn pterodactyl's wing. It's like, oh my gosh!
That was pretty gnarly.
Anyway, read the intro.
Without further ado, The Good Dinosaur.
Good Dinosaur.
Oh, you ready for this riveting synopsis?
Oh, boy.
Arlo is a dinosaur that loses his father and his way. By meeting a human named Spot, Arlo must journey back home to do some farming. And it's funny because when I was watching it this time, I go, I kind of like the farming stuff. Like the first time, I was like, oh, we're okay. This time, I'm like, no, let's stay here. We don't need to go on this journey. I want to watch more of the farming.
It's interesting. I think that dinosaur was involved instead of humans. That's
I mean, your favorite games for the Switch are farming simulators.
It checks out. It
the
all makes
most
sense.
infuriating game. It's like, stop talking to me. What? My shovel broke. I just bought it.
This is completely off topic, but guys, this dude's most infuriating game ever is the most chill game
the most
you
calm
will ever
game in the world.
Like everything designed in this game is designed to be like a dopamine hit. It's Animal Crossing New Horizon, and it pisses him off.
Granted, Tom Nook can be a pain in the butt. Absolutely, but still,
it's like, what do you mean I'm out of room? Why can't I just carry all I want? What do you mean my tools break? I want to make up DIY. How about shut up? I don't.
Good one, Jared.
Hey, you collect dinosaurs in that game.
You do?
Dinosaur bones, which is basically what this movie
that's right.
is.
Yeah, because then you go into the museum.
Yeah.
And they're all there.
Way to bring it back. Nicely done.
God,
where do we start?
I think Jake should start because he is a fan of this, and
Fan is such a high praise.
Going
what
into
that
this
is.
watch. You
Okay,
were
going
yeah.
into this watch, I did really, really like it. After this watch, I'm just kind of like, I still like it, but meh.
It's a very, like I said, it's passable.
It's
good enough.
I don't think that it's as bad as what this boy over here says. He's trying to convince me hard that it's a bad movie, and I just don't think it is. I honestly think its greatest sin is that it followed Inside Out, and it is a heavy, heavy tone shift from Inside Out because it's not super colorful.
No,
The landscapes look fantastic, very hyper real. Like you
the
can
water looks great.
Yes. The dinosaurs, again, I come from a time that was what we have called the dinosaur boom. Anything with dinosaurs that is, passable in a sense of the manner, I'm gonna like just on principle.
Dare we call it the Dinosaurs?
Dinosaur.
You called
Yeah.
you called this movie a bastard child. You allow him to say stuff like that?
Again. It's not me. It's the internet. It's like, do you all have something better to do than rib on the good dinosaur?
Well, if you didn't make a typo, your Rotten Tomato scores it's good. People seem to like it. I mean, 6 out of 10 is still liking.
That's
something.
the other thing. It's like, again, it's a comparison game. So it's like, but that's not Pixar. It's like, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
Not every single Pixar movie is going to be or needs to be a 9 or 10 out of 10. No one makes that's just not how movies work. Like there's great ones.
Well, different people make the movies even within the same company like this.
Yeah, I don't know.
Anyway, I don't like it as much as I used to. I will admit that. It was very inconsistent with itself, and the characters were all over the place, and there were times when it felt like it was trying to force itself to be a child's movie, which it is, obviously, but in the sort of zany way that Inside Out was, and it didn't fit the mood of it.
Yeah, it's very interesting that this did follow up Inside Out, because Inside Out is obviously, it's more, it's very deep and emotional, obviously, and this is a little more simplistic. There's nothing wrong with it, but those two back to back, it's a shift.
Yeah, it just, and then I read up on there was a lot of stuff going on when it was being made that contributed to why it's all over the place.
Really?
They had a division called Pixar Canada. I believe it was open to make shorts, and they had just closed it. And then there were creative differences within the team, causing film personnel shifts and changes. So their people were moving around on who was working on it, mainly in the story and the writing department. And then they delayed it several times because of the story. They could not nail the third act, is what they were saying. And that's why a lot, or at least some people from Pixar said they're disappointed with it because they couldn't ever nail it down. And when you get to that third act, it's
I can see that
it doesn't really know where it's going for most of the movie because it starts okay.
Yeah. The whole making a mark thing it's a very cute idea. It's a very
If you say charming, I'm going to throw. I can't.
I'm not gonna say what I was gonna say next then.
Yeah, and the whole thing of his two siblings got to it faster, and he's much smaller than them, and he's trying to find something to make his mark.
It's very relatable.
That works, and they pick on him because he's the youngest and the smallest.
It would have been better if it wouldn't have been if humans weren't a part of it, and the siblings would have gotten swept away, and it would have been like a Homeward Bound thing where they have to learn to
get along
and work together.
I like that.
And support each other because they weren't doing that on the farm.
No.
Well, and I feel like for me, so granted, I'm trying to remember exactly how, because I can't remember the first couple of things the dad had him do that he couldn't do. It was
mostly that chicken thing.
Okay, well, because that's the weird thing is I thought after he couldn't do that,
which by
the dad has him try to kill a creature? Like, what kind of, like, that just, that logic
What kind of a leap is that?
Yeah, that didn't really make sense to me. I can see, no, I can't. I don't know. I don't know why that was the next step in the dad's plan. That part just didn't make sense to me.
And even like if you think about what the movie sets up, it's setting up a whole like their pests, we kill them, and then he learns to get along with one, and it's like, but what else is there? It's just he's scared of it, and then he's not, and then that's the rest of the movie.
Getting over your fear, and it's interesting.
Yeah, even then, it's like he gets over it pretty quick.
But about the fear thing, that's interesting is that, especially when you look at once again this being paired, I'm saying paired with Inside Out, coming out the same year. When the Butch said it's okay to be afraid, it gave me a very similar vibe to Inside Out saying it's okay to be sad. I thought that's just it. It's interesting that those two ended up together and they had a. I mean, does that make sense? Is it kind of a similar thing? Do you guys? Did you see that?
Sam Elliott telling that story. Yes, again, it was very unfortunate that this came out after Inside Out. It just was. Mm-hmm. Sam Elliott telling that story.
I was not prepared with Sam Elliott popping up. Like, as soon as I heard the song, I'm like, Sam Elliott is in this? What? That just caught me by surprise.
Makes sense to me. I mean, he was in Prancer for crying out loud.
Yeah. He was in Prancer.
Now, every time I see a giant butch dinosaur, I'm just going to think, Sam Elliott.
How often do you see a giant butch dinosaur?
Quite often, actually.
Noted.
I'm not the good dinosaur. Yeah. That I just keep thinking about that. It's another example of one act is far better than the others in the Pixar. You know how like Toy Story 3, the last act, the end is much better than the rest of it, or like what was another? Like Brave, the first act is better than the rest of it. They kind of do this thing because like Onward is one that we haven't covered yet, but the last act is better than the rest of it.
Yeah.
There's this
20 minutes of it, maybe.
You see what I'm trying to say, though? It's
Everything
like,
with the dad.
It's like there's one act that has all the good stuff in it for these
I think that this has.
Pixar movies.
I think the first act and the last act have really good things in this, and I think that the second act is dumb.
Do you think if they didn't do a journey, do you think? Because I remember thinking like if the whole movie was on the farm, it could have worked as well.
I don't think that would keep kids' attention.
Yeah, no. Especially
I think that you could have gotten rid of the pterodactyls, though.
Yeah, I don't like them at all.
I don't like them all.
It's like,
and it was really
good.
Especially speaking of the pterodactyls, I'm thinking closer to the end, as for refresh my mind, with I doing like the inverse Jaws thing. Do I say with like the shark fin, like them peeking into like. It's weird, but that was kind of cool. I'll give them that. Like, that was a very creative.
It's so inconsistent with its characters.
It was very inconsistent.
It's like every other character you meet doesn't feel like it belongs in this world.
Well, what was with the Triceratops?
What
was that?
That is, it's a stereotype.
Yeah, honestly.
It's like it's one scene, it's uncomfortable, and it just kind of happens.
Because. Remind me.
It is not as long as I remember it being, though. I remember it going on for just ever and ever and ever and ever. That being the primary thing that I hated about it originally.
It was just weird. Like, it was so out of place. Like, what was the point of that scene? Was there any point?
To be a stereotype, you have to have a weird character from the wild.
With his eyes going...
In your Western movies nowadays. Cites Django... and True Grit.
Yeah.
And a lot of other Westerns.
That's fair, yeah.
It didn't feel like much of a journey either. Like, comparatively. Or it's like, there's only like 3 or 4 things they do.
Yeah, it's...
Like, compare that to another journey movie they have, which is Finding Nemo.
Or like Homeward Bound.
It's funny you say...
Or even Homeward Bound. There's a lot more happens.
It's funny you say Finding Nemo, because the entire time I'm watching this, I'm thinking, this seems like a dumbed-down version of Finding Nemo.
Little bit.
It's interesting with like if you want to draw a comparison between Homeward Bound and this. In Homeward Bound, they don't cover that many miles compared to this.
Yeah.
But it feels like he's in his backyard in this.
Yeah. And it's just because it's like what he gets swept away. It's the first scene with Spot, and then the it's not really. Well, there's a lot more horns in 3, so I don't even know what we call. You said Triceratops, and then
No, that's a good point, though. Wasn't
then
it
like
Triceratops?
yeah, and then the pterodactyls, and then the T-Rex, and then he's home. Like
Which again,
basically
so
all the mountain thing. You know what I'm saying? It's like there's not that much that happens for
There's-
him to get home.
No, and I don't want to dive into trying to pick out the logic of a animated kids movie.
That is what
about-
we do here.
Yeah.
But like T-Rexes not eating them. I'm sorry, that didn't make any
Hey
sense.
man,
at all.
did you see the asteroid? It went by their heads, man. They have evolved.
But the pterodactyls have them?
You want to
Oh,
talk
no, the
about
pterodactyls
logic?
weren't eating them. No.
You want to talk about logic? We were talking about this earlier.
Oh boy.
So Arlo's dad dies because he gets swept away with that landslide thing, right?
And then he
Arlo
gets
gets
swept
swept away by the
too.
same thing and is fine. And he goes over a waterfall. All I wanted to do was make an edit where he goes over the waterfall and you hear "Booyah!" from Emperor's New Groove.
Yeah.
So he survived the same thing and went over a waterfall and he's fine.
It's so
like
fun-
like at least in spirit, when she goes over that waterfall, that's felt and she's clearly injured and you feel something here. It's just like, oh, he's fine. Okay.
It's so interesting you say that because when I was you know the scene where I'm trying to remember if it was right after the waterfall, but when he was tangled up after the in like the vines and his dad comes and saves him, and his dad ended up not being real. You remember that? Mm-hmm. For some reason,
You mean the main point of the?
I guess that was actually
of the
climax.
last act?
But I thought his dad was alive because was that before or after he got swept away and went down the waterfall? I'm trying to remember what happened first.
I can't remember.
Well, because for some reason in my mind I thought he got swept down the waterfall and then that happened, so he's still alive. So maybe his dad's still alive. And then I saw his dad. I'm like, holy crap, his dad came back. And then they did the whole like he's not really there thing. I'm
He's
like,
a
oh.
ghost.
I was like, yeah, that's
Slag.
didn't. It was just weird. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, he survived and his dad didn't.
It's
Like,
just
what?
funny. It's like,
He is
What?
stronger than
Oh,
no.
he's
they-
his dad and
more.
more.
He's his
That
dad
is-
and more.
But that actually, that's a good line. I do like that line.
That
That's
is the best part of the movie when his dad turns to him and says that.
yeah.
and it's Jeffrey Wright. I mean,
How can you not
can't
love
go
Jeffrey
wrong
Wright,
with Jeffrey
honestly?
Wright at all.
I don't know.
Yeah, anyway, we'll talk later.
Okay, I'll get scolded later.
One thing that bugged me is not only when he reunites with his mom, it's nothing. I don't feel anything because it's like it's a similar scene to Nemo, but Nemo you feel it.
Mm-hmm.
This one's like okay, the camera stays back. We're pulled back as they're running, and I'm like waiting for the cut because like yeah, we want to actually like experience this moment. He's
Right.
reuniting with his mother, who has no idea where he is. And we just stay back, and then the siblings go join them. I go, "Oh, are we gonna cut in? Because his siblings coming to like greet him and hug him is actually kind of a wholesome little moment." No,
It was.
we're gonna sit back. Okay.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Anything to show those landscapes.
That's it. Someone once said like, "This isn't a movie. It's just like, what was it? Like an a software experiment."
It might be.
That's a very valid point. Maybe okay, I'm not saying it was an actual experiment, but maybe they just had new technology and they wanted to put it to good use, and they thought of, hey,
Hey, good you.
eh,
Or sorry. Good you.
because yeah, you're right. Like I feel like the focus was all of, like the visuals and was that like those landscapes. Like none of the characters stood out at all.
Hey, Jared.
Yes.
How about you tell us why you don't like the character designs?
Oh, I thought they
Why?
were.
What reason are we talking about?
The character designs. You said you don't like the dinosaurs.
Okay, you made it seem like I said something that like, ooh.
Well, that's a fair point though, because
I just want to hear you explain
Okay.
it.
they look goofy to me too.
It's more of a
so-
preference. They look like Play-Doh. There's like not
know
much
why.
texture to them at all.
You
When
wanna-
you're surrounded by a lot of texture.
You wanna know what did it
It's
for
a
me?
weird. It's like a flannel graph. But the characters you put on it don't match the background at all. It's like when they have like the solid color backgrounds and then these super detailed characters, but instead it's the opposite for this. That's again, it's probably more of a preference. I just remember looking like I don't like these
No,
designs.
you're right. And you want to know what did it for me? was when they were wet. For some reason, I thought when the dinosaurs were wet, that texture it made me feel uncomfortable. It did. I don't know why. I don't know. I can't put it into words why looking at that just made me feel uncomfortable, but it did. And I'd much rather look at just the rushing water, especially when like the storms. Those looked great.
The smoke too, like the smoke and dust look great.
Yeah.
The area and atmosphere environments they roam around in are good. I don't think they look very good.
No, I'm with you on that. I was not a fan of the way they look, especially when, like I said, when they're wet. It just rubbed me the wrong way.
But there is one scene in this that I would call pretty well done.
Sorry, go ahead.
It's the stick scene when they're sitting there explaining what happened to their families. There's not really much dialogue at all, and it's just because Spot can't even talk. But they just put up the sticks, and when they like turn one stick down, and Spot turns two, and they cover them, I go, "That's actually good.
And then they brought it
That's
back.
effective."
And then they brought it back when they met the people. He drew the circle around them.
Yeah. Now the people, like the adults on all fours, was weird for me the first time. I don't know how to explain it, because this time too, I'm a little more used to it. It's still kind of like funny, like, but not in like a ha-ha like, I don't even know,
just
like,
weird, not ha-ha funny, but weird funny.
Like this little kid and this animated little kid running around like a dog. Sure, how often do little kids pretend they're animals?
I feel like quite often.
It's like, and then like the adults are going around sniffing. It's like, okay, this is a little weird.
Yeah, I don't like.
But it's not much of it. It's just I remember thinking like that. I feel weirdly uncomfortable.
No, I get it. They're saying the dinosaurs evolved more than humans. Sure,
they looked like discount crudes. Maybe this is a prequel.
Oh,
wow.
Maybe it is.
Oh, Jake,
maybe somehow it is.
You're so true. They do feel like
It is
discount
kind of
crudes.
because when he joins them, don't they have 2 kids with him?
Yeah.
So yeah, there you go.
Wait,
Now but the youngest one of the crews is female, but she's more feral than dog. But
yeah,
it's kind of that. So actually, Spot and what's her name from Crudes kind of do look alike.
Yeah.
What have we discovered?
Wait, this came out 2015.
Crudes is 2013.
That was 13. So I wonder, do you think there is a little?
I
bit
mean,
of
I don't think it has anything to do with it.
No, but maybe a little influence, just a touch.
And of course, the Crudes is also a journey. It's literally a road trip movie.
Yeah.
And then this is
a movie.
They walk.
A thing.
Yeah,
it's a thing.
Well, the Crudes they walk, but the point being.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, no. That whole on all fours and the awoo, like they're doing the wolf thing.
Awoo.
I don't know. It just.
The other thing is like there's that moment when you see the human the first time in the distance, and then Arlo picks up Spot and carries him away. I'm like, okay, I feel like this should have more emotional weight to it, and it doesn't feel like it does.
Retweet.
Yeah, like I was like, I know what they're doing. It's just not doing anything.
Well, because they never really.
Because then later he just does it, and like it's supposed to resemble growth, but that doesn't have much to do with what the growth in his character is otherwise doing.
No,
it's about him overcoming his fear, and like that one, it's like it's a little strange to throw it at that point. If it was earlier, maybe there's 1 or 2 more times to flesh that out. It's like, yeah, that makes more sense why this decision is better, but it's just kind of tacked on there.
It feels like they were trying. It feels like they had the message of the movie in mind, but they never took the time to formulate the characters.
They have the idea. The big what if is, what if the meteor missed?
Right.
They were the ones that evolved, and the humans did not.
Right.
The humans are the animals. And then they just kind of were. So somehow they got to farming. Sure. I'm fine with it, but it was like, okay, where's this going? Oh, it's just. I think it has a decent start, and they just don't do that much with it.
Yeah, because even just like the best parts of like characterization for me was that, like you said, that the circle one when they were doing that, and like just everything with the siblings, like everything apart from them, just nothing made me feel like these were like really well defined characters. Like I couldn't like really relate all that much, and that it's just missing a lot there.
And again, the family that is left behind after his dad dies get like no screen time.
Zero. I was why the heck did they not show at all them looking for him?
Like, we don't have to cut back to it, but it is kind of like...
But, like, at least something.
We don't get to know anyone that much, because his siblings only have a few scenes. His mom has just a couple more than them.
Yeah.
Because his dad takes up most of the screen time, which, that's the point, is he loses his dad, and that's the big emotional part of the movie. But, and that's the other thing, like, his dad dies, and then within 5 minutes, we're on our journey, like, we're thrust into it. We don't get any time to let that sink in.
No, yeah, and that would have helped a lot too. Kind of like I think about the Land Before Time, where they really they smack you across the face with him losing, and then that's what made his journey more impactful. In this one, it was just like swept under the rug. Like, it was like his dad would go away. Okay, who cares? Like, let's sit on that a little bit longer. Let's breathe a little bit more, and they didn't do that for who knows why. I don't know. The pieces are there. Yeah.
And it's like, you have Frances McDormand voicing his mom, and she barely says anything.
Great actress. And, like, what the heck? Yeah. What the heck?
The other thing was, like, I feel like because he's projecting his frustrations and blame onto Spot for his dad's death. Mm-hmm. And then at the end, it's supposed to be, it's my fault. Like, he thinks it's his fault. You know what I'm trying to say? And it's not. I felt like it should have been a more direct way of because it's like they just go after. They don't even see it. Like, they just run after Spot out into a storm, and that's how his dad dies. Like, and he blames Spot for it. It's like, it doesn't really feel that much. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
I just remember thinking, like, I feel like there should be a more direct way of that being connected of how much he blames Spot for his dad's death.
No, yeah, I'm glad you said that, because I felt a very similar way. Like, it's. Like, I can see what they're trying to do, but they didn't lead us to think that way enough, if that makes sense. Like, you have to like, they gave us A and they gave us E, but there's no B, C, or D. Like, you got to give those middle pieces.
Yeah. What if the storm's happening and his dad is so focused on getting Spot, and Arlo's following, and maybe his dad is trying to catch Spot, and Spot is just running away out of self-defense, and his dad falls. Mm-hmm. And that's the cause of it. So, of course, he'd blame Spot for it, because he's like, oh, you're the reason. And Spot didn't do anything wrong, so it's not actually Spot's fault.
Makes more sense to me.
That's one thing. It's like, I feel like that would have worked better. Maybe that's too close of a Lion King comparison.
I was thinking of Lion King as well. It's especially with, I mean, it's kind of a similar visual with the water rushing down, and kind of similar to, like, the wildebeest coming down. Like, it's kind of similar.
Yeah, that was just my thought about that part. It's like, it's not feeling like a strong connection for him to blame Spot as harsh as he does. Mm-hmm. Like, it's fine that he does that because he's projecting onto him, but I felt like there should have been a more direct way that he does, because we didn't even see Spot in that whole sequence. And I like the fact that when his dad realizes what he's doing, he's like, let's go home, and then saves it. It's like,
I was fine. Very, like, for a second there, I was worried, just like, are they really going to just have the dad? Because, like, when they were running into the storm, I'm thinking the entire time, oh yeah, they're probably the dad's probably going to die. Which, to be fair, I never said, this is the first time I've ever seen this.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I didn't know what to expect. And so that's where I thought, when they were running to the storm, I'm like, well, Dad's obviously gonna die, and I was worried that they weren't gonna show him, like, caring about it. So I'm like, wow, that's kind of mean, Pixar. Like, you're trying to make us scared for him, and then they do show him looking back, but I don't know, it just wasn't enough.
Okay. His dad's the best character.
Yes.
And it's mostly because it's Jeffrey Wright.
How can you not love Jeffrey Wright? Like, how? Commissioner Gordon, man.
Felix in the Daniel Craig James Bond movies.
Yeah. Or he's also great in Westworld, if anybody still watches Westworld. I've never seen that. Pretty good.
Yeah. I'm still thinking like that. I had no idea what the movie was about the first time I watched it a couple years ago. Mm-hmm. So when the dad did that, when they're going out in the storm, I go, oh, are they going to... Oh, okay, they're going to kill the dad. And then when it happens, I go, oh, I didn't know that was going to happen. I had a feeling, but... Because I saw it years after this. I think I saw it in like 2018, 2019, somewhere in there.
Okay. I will say, I mean, I don't know if I would have liked it that much more if I saw this in theaters, but it would have helped a little bit. It just because the visuals would have given it a little bit more oomph. Not much, but a little bit more oomph. It would have given me. I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm trying to give it a little more credit than I think it deserves, but
I do remember that first watch. It ended. I go. Everyone hates it. Why?
it's not.
Why?
Hateful. Yeah.
There's nothing to hate.
But again, like
See, we can hate on DreamWorks movies that suck. So I don't think this sucks, but
No.
like Home. Of course, I'm gonna hate on Home.
yeah, that's just bad.
Yeah, because it's actively annoying. There's nothing in this movie that's actively annoying.
And we've had this conversation before, where bad movies at least stand out more than just mediocre.
Yeah, if anything, this is more known because of how much people dislike it.
Well, also
it's
because
like-
it's Pixar. That's a big reason too.
The Pixar and the Disney fan, the Diz nerds, as they
Diz
call
nerds.
themselves online, it's like
like
they take it so seriously.
I know.
And yes, we're taking it seriously. But we're trying to at least keep that open mind about it, where it's like, if anything deviates from the formula, like, no. It's like, jeez.
like things can be different. Things can be bad. Things like it doesn't all have to be sunshine and roses.
And the whole, like, it's like they're not letting current kids enjoy them either, because if they don't like it, they have to make it known. It's like, it's still a kids movie, yes, and you can say all you want about it, just don't get in the way of the kids who want to enjoy this during their childhood, because you were allowed to enjoy it during your childhood because you didn't have a bunch of depressed 20 or 30 somethings yelling in your face about how much they hate it.
Well, especially like
in this culture. I mean, it's because 20, 30 years ago, the people older than us didn't grow up the same way we have on animation. Mm-hmm. So, and that's why.
Yeah. Well, also, yeah, just like especially you saying about showing kids, like, get kids into dinosaurs, because dinosaurs are cool, man. As you were saying, Jake, dinosaurs are awesome. Like this should show us to more. It's not that bad. Get more people to just get into dinosaurs.
What's better, this or We're Back? In your opinion, is this a hard question, or are you going to jump to the nostalgia?
That's a dumb question.
That's a dumb question?
Yeah. It's comparing apples and oranges.
Why?
It's comparing a very underdeveloped movie with no budget to a very movie that should have been better with a budget.
Maybe if we put a singing John Goodman in The Good Dinosaur, it would have been better.
Do you think if you put songs in this, it'd be better? Because this is one of the few Pixar ones without songs.
I don't think it would.
No.
Not unless you want a singing, what's his name again?
Spot? Arlo?
No. The T-Rex.
Ramsey? Butch?
Sam Elliott? Butch.
To be fair,
Butch, right? Yeah.
I would love to listen to Sam Elliott sing, so I would be okay with
It's okay to be scared. It's like a twangy Western song.
You just let that crocodile bite you on the nose.
And it's okay to be scared. Just like that bear in Brave. I don't know.
Okay.
I was going somewhere with that. Just like in Brave with the bear. I was trying to...
No, yeah.
I'm not
Also,
good at that.
if the dinosaurs evolved enough to herd them, why didn't the buffalo evolve?
Why can't they talk?
Why did
Everything else in this movie talks except the humans, right?
and the buffalo?
And the buffalo.
Yeah, like why what's so great about the buffalo? Even the birds were talking.
Did the birds
Not the
talk?
bird. Oh yeah, he talked and whispered.
Yeah, Debbie or whatever.
Oh, that's right. That's right. I try to forget about that, but you're...
Don't we all?
See, at least like BoJack Horseman explains like why there are animals that are like not
yeah.
like them. 'Cause it's like what do they say? The dumber chickens. We fatten them up so you can eat them. And I go, chickens selling chickens. Okay.
Yeah. I would be curious to see if they did. I mean, not that they will ever, ever, ever touch this property ever again, but if they did something in this world, if they, went into more different animals that are talking and weren't, I'd be curious, but they're never gonna do it.
No, I just want Monsters at Work season 2 to come out now. so I could sit there and watch it and go, this was fine.
Oh
When's the
my-
next season?
Oh my
I
god.
keep bringing that up. I'm like, did I
Absolutely.
Really, did I
You're
really
going to be
just,
the only one campaigning for this, but let's do it.
Well, you know what's funny? Henry Winkler's Twitter pic is his character from Monsters at Work.
Oh my god, are you serious?
It is. What is his name? Fritz. I think it's Fritz. I can't remember his name. But, like, I saw a tweet the other day, and I was like, who is it? Oh, it's Henry Winkler. His Monsters at Work character's his Twitter picture.
Dear God.
Oh boy.
Only Henry would do that.
I think I've said everything about this. Lower in the catalog, but it does not deserve the hate it gets.
No, it's passable.
And again, for how much stuff was happening behind the scenes, it's like, yeah, that makes sense why at a certain point we're just like, we just gotta kind of end it. We just kind of gotta finish this.
It at least made money. Like I'm looking at your binder right now.
Did it?
It did. With a budget of $175, it made $332 worldwide.
No, that's more than Puss in Boots has made.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is true. So far, it's been 2 weeks.
So I at least give it that. They at least made money on this, whether it's
And it's the Pixar brand will make
that
money.
definitely is part of
Yeah,
the
and then if
reason.
you turn your page, the next movie, look at that box office, and it's like this made that much. This movie made that much. Okay,
That's-
again, branding,
it's because brand name.
franchise,
It's
all
because
that, we'll get
IP
that in a
is
second.
everything. Which maybe that's another reason as to, although interesting. Let me see what about
You know, it's funny when people
no,
first
even
started
Inside
saying,
because Inside Out's a better movie. Because I was curious because Inside Out does not have the brand or the IP behind it like the next movie. Shall we say what it is?
we'll get to it in a second.
Okay, but because it doesn't have that brand name behind it, all it has is Pixar.
Yeah, it is
It can
funny when
carry it a
people
little bit, but not at all.
people started saying IP, and I go, isn't that like an address or something? I had no idea what they're talking about. They're IP. I go, oh,
It's
intellectual property.
Yeah.
Oh,
franchise.
that makes a lot of sense.
Merchandise.
Merchandise. Do we have
Kids
any
love it.
final thoughts on The Good Dinosaur?
Do not.
It's good.
It is a dinosaur.
So now do you want to tease us to what's
Yeah.
coming next?
So next,
It's not that bad.
yeah.
I don't think it is. It's not great, but it's better than this.
We'll see. I don't know. I feel like The Good Dinosaur. I just kind of like okay, and this one I'm gonna be like the whole time. Plus, this one is. Oh no, it's not. I thought it felt longer when I watched it. It's
97.
Finding Dory,
yeah.
a sequel to
Remember-
Finding Nemo.
Remember they made that? I feel like Finding
Dory.
Dory is very similar to
Finding
The Good-
Nemo, except it's not as good.
Well, I was gonna say The Good Dinosaur as to where I feel like it gets swept under the rug in like the more forgotten Pixar movies.
I don't
Finding
know. If,
Dory?
no,
I really do.
No,
No?
no. Well, one,
Hold
it
up,
made
hold
$1
up,
billion.
hold up, hold up, hold up,
I know
hold
it
up,
makes a
hold
lot
up,
of
hold up.
money, but like
How many-
It's
how-
not talked about.
Let him.
How many movies have made $1 billion like that? Wasn't there a short list that you gave me?
The $2 billion club is like 5. The $1 billion
the
is like 30 or 40 out of every movie ever made, though.
Yes,
so it's
no, it's
select
very-
company.
How many of Pixar's movies have made $1 billion?
And not a lot. No,
I know this
agree
one
with what
did.
you're
I
saying.
know Incredibles 2, I think, did. Yup. I think both Toy Story 3 and 4 did. Coco was close.
Coco was close.
And then after that, it drops out because of COVID.
Toy Story 4, yeah.
But there's a
that's
couple.
gonna be-
Okay, I'll wait. We'll wait to get into it next week because I don't agree with you at all. But
I just think it's
Swept under the rug?
it made a lot of money,
Forgotten?
but who talks about it anymore?
who talks about any of these anymore?
A good amount of them. I would consider at least the
Well, the Inside Out talk is going to ramp up when that movie comes out. The second one.
What movie? That movie?
Inside Out 2.
That next movie that doesn't need to be made?
Yeah.
yeah, that one. Does it have a release date? Is there any kind of release date attached to Inside Out
I
too?
don't know.
I don't know.
We'll talk about
We'll
it
talk
when we-
about. We'll talk.
Yeah,
about.
Finding Dory is next week.
Yes, it is.
But
so watch
in
it
the
before you
meantime-
watch our.
Yeah, but in the meantime, Dickey, where could they find us?
You can find us online. You can follow all of our social media accounts. We are at All Slate Media. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitter. We are on Instagram. We are on TikTok. Just give us a follow over there. And if you want to listen to us, if you're already listening to us, you can always. Well, first, if you want to listen to us, you can go to our website. We have all of our lists on there. And also all the apps. We are on Spotify, Stitcher, Apple, Google, iHeartRadio. All those. Also, make sure to rate us. Bumps up our numbers. And finally, our YouTube channel is awesome. You can see our smiling faces and our awesome set here. Make sure to like us, subscribe, ring our bell, and make sure to comment and give us your opinions on if you don't like these movies. Love to hear from you guys. And I do want to mention you should watch Finding Dory before you stay tuned to next week so you can stay up on the conversation with us.
Thank you, Dickey. And that's all for today for Off Slate with Dimlits. We'll see you next week. Do we need another one?
All right, if you want to.
One more.
All right.
The Good Dinosaur.
No. It sounds like you have to poop.
It sounds like you're constipated.
I mean, this movie made me constipated.
Not that bad.
It's kind of bad.
You can say it's passable.
Hey!
Unlike Jared's bowels.
One more, because I started laughing in the middle of it.
I was laughing
too. Go on, do the.
Yeah.
The Good Dinosaur. Stop it. You have got to control yourself. You've got to control yourself. I'm trying to. I can get through it if you don't laugh.
I just can't look at you when you do it. The good.
The Good Dinosaur.
Sounds like you're saying, good
Here we go.
morning, Vietnam.
The Good Dinosaur.
It's
Good Dinosaur. It's Good Dinosaur.
Good.
The Good Dinosaur.
No.
I tried to save it and you went. I tried to change it so you wouldn't laugh and you just went.
The new inflection was worse. It was so much worse.
You went. I can't do that.
So, what's the next movie?
The Good Dinosaur.
No.
One of these will work. Stop it.
Stuck inside a mobile with the Memphis Blues again.
Early one morning, the sun was shining. I was laying in bed, wondering if she changed it all, if her hair was still red. I was standing by the side of the road, rain falling on my shoes.
Tangled up in blue. What in the world is
But
happening
not
right now?
with me, baby. I got you to save me. Oh, you're so bad. Best you ever had in a while. Gone, man. You're so bad.